Okay, this is how I figured out how you can disassemble these radiator thermostats from Honeywell. Sometimes what happens if you accidentally knock them is the screen gets busted upwards like this, it comes apart, and it's difficult to get it back in without damaging something, so I had to take mine apart to get it fixed. So the first thing is, just as if you're taking off the removing the lid to change the batteries, you just pull this top bit off like so. There's your battery clip, and if you just bend it ever so slightly inwards like that, you can get the clip out. First stage is to get this screw out in there. It requires probably a number 1 posi. All I've got here is a number 2. In fact, that won't even fit, so I'm going to use a flat head just to get it started. That screw only comes out so far until you've released it. There we go. That screw's now loose. So there's 5 black plastic clips. There's one here, there's one in there, and there's one here. So I use my finger to provide upward pressure on this lid, releasing that clip so it's gone proud, releasing this clip so it's gone proud there, it's come loose. There you can see the gap here. I made it loose. So now we're just remaining for this one here beside the screw. Just release that one, and then this lid happily comes out. Now you'll notice on here the sensor for the lid being spun. There's a little tiny fragile plastic thing which goes into that hole in there. So you have to be careful to reassemble correctly. Next step, just ease that off, then this face plate is released from the bottom, and then there's 2 clips in here. Again, being careful not to protrude with the screwdriver too much and damage a printed circuit board. They're quite well made, these. You'll see what I mean when I get this apart. So now the whole face comes off. It's very nicely made, and we can see that where that wood pushes back through when it's assembled into that sensor, which also picks up a wheel there. So now the printed circuit board and the LCD screen. Here is the very sensitive strip connector to the LCD screen. These 2 lips need to be prized upwards. That releases this cable. We're then going to lift the PCB like so, so that we've pulled that cable tight, and we're just going to provide more slack and ease that cable out without bending it too tightly. Then off comes the PCB. Obviously I've earthed myself so that static electricity can't damage the electronics on here. So there we have this bit loose. This little plastic contact sheet can come loose like that, so we'll put that to one side to put back together in a minute. And then if your screen has come loose, and you'll be able now to put this back together. I'm tempted even to glue this together because these keep coming apart when they get knocked. So I'm tempted to glue this together to stop it coming apart. But I'm not sure if it would damage the LCD if it got in there. But now I know how to take it apart, I don't think I will. So, reverse assembly procedure. These 2 pieces, cable through there. Put the left hand end in first into under that clip, to try and minimise the strain on the connector. And then the right hand end, we just need to prise that open a bit to get that under. There we go, that's our screen back together. Next we get our printed circuit board. As you can see, the contact strip has come out. I need to put that back in. So there's a there's some plastic studs in there. It needs to lay on those plastic studs. Then we'll get a printed circuit board, put the cable through its hole, like so. And then we need to put the printed circuit board under these two forks there. And then this is the tricky bit, finding the holes for the pegs underneath need to come through the printed circuit board holes, getting it lined up. There we go. So these two white pegs here need to line up for the printed circuit board to go home. And it's gone home now. So next step, again, making sure you're earthed so you don't, no static electricity can damage the electronics. These two ears must be pushed away from the socket, and the cable introduced into the socket. The gold connectors should go all the way in. See the gold connectors there just emerging. Well, they should go all the way in. Once they're all the way in, push these two brown securing things back home. That locks the cable in place. Final check that the screen is okay. Back to normal. And then we need to reintroduce it here. So we've got two securing tags at the bottom and this operating switch here that senses this cam on the locking switch. So I'm going to leave it unlocked so the cam is lower. So we introduce those two forks, those two prongs in there, making sure the switch doesn't get trapped, and then push it back home. That's good. Seems happy. And then I need to get my lid. Again, I need to make sure this protruding peg goes through that switch, that sensor, rotational sensor there. That's the difficult bit. Making sure it lines up, because of course there's many things in the way. There we go, that's lined up, that's in. So we then put the screw in, wherever that, oh, it's still in there. Tighten that up. And the battery terminal. So I'm putting one side under there. I need to get this side under this peg, so I'm just going to flex. I need to get that side under that peg. I'm just going to flex it a little bit. Very nicely made, good quality stainless steel. That's that. And then we'll put our batteries in a minute and click on the lid. One repaired HR92.